Travis Wayne Goodsell. I'm going to push things tonight because I need to take care of Jasmine. I see she's even added another comment. As, dear God, the white supremacists have been triggered. The evil has begun. And he's copying and pasting the same thing. Oh my God. He's a troll. A bot troll. Oh my God. So where's your comment on your comment? He's probably wondering what's going on. Where's my video? Where's my comment? I hold all comments for review because of evil people like you. And 2 people were flagged by YouTube just recently since the videos. So, alright, Jasmine. You've got my full attention. I'm not wearing sunglasses. I don't have headphones in. I'm listening. I know she watched that video, so she understands what I mean. So, to review for those who are listening in our private conversation, James and Jasmine, married interracial couple. The missionaries came knocking on their door. They were interested. Oh, religion. Okay, we'll learn. And the missionaries were teaching them, and so Jasmine and James were both studying. Now, they weren't going online and finding anti-Mormon anti-critics. Well, Jasmine did. But she was also, well, no, actually, she says that she found me and then realized that she shouldn't have gone to those other guys and did actual research for herself and went to the Joseph Smith papers, found the section 101 of the Doctrine and Covenants of 1835 and went, oh, this is not section 132 of the current Doctrine and Covenants. Jasmine is so smart, and she don't know it. She don't believe she's intelligent, though time and time I told her so. And so on, using cancel culture to defend the church, as Unicorn called me a troll. That was their name. This is really a good ring. It's taken a lot of beatings. So she says, hey, Travis. I believe she used to say, hey, Mr. Goodsell in the beginning, didn't you? So, yeah, we've been on a first name basis for a long time. How weird it is that we've been watching Captain Marvel. She is pretty hot. Yeah, and there's the new The Marvels coming out on DVD soon. And the Avengers all day. And you now have a Fury video? I just watched the Emma Smith movie and was wondering why she didn't do a lot to defend Brigham Young's defamation of her husband, or did she? Did she come to the Salt Lake Valley? No. No, she did not. Yeah, Brigham had to stay away from her. Yep. And so, yeah, there are documents by Danites, such as Section 132, that whole, now Emma, if you don't obey me and let me have more wives to have sex with, then you're going to be destroyed. And so the church passes on the false information that this was actually presented to Emma, and and she there's some confusion on this because it never really happened. Yeah, Danites love to lie. And you'll find that out as you continue to go through the Joseph Smith papers, knowing who the Danites are, who are making the claims of Joseph Smith's revelations and prophecies. Even Brigham Young makes stuff up in preparation for disassociation with what is about to happen. I refer to 1835 or 1838. Brigham Young claims that Joseph Smith gave him a blessing and said, "The Lord wants you to go be with your family right now." And so Brigham Young, out of loyalty to Joseph Smith, realized that after Joseph Smith turned the church into the secret combination as the president of the Danites, murdering Mormons who didn't fall in line, changing the name of the church, practicing polygamy. Oh, dear God. Yeah, then Brigham stepped up to be the president of the 12 to take over the church in Joseph's absence, wrongfully accused. Which, Dear God. It's called a coup. When the person who's leading the church is no longer leading the church, but another person who's not supposed to lead the church is leading the church instead. Called a coup. So, yeah. But she is woman. And this was before women's suffrage. This is where women were property. But we do have some inkling that Emma was a strong-willed woman. The whole word of wisdom, for example, no coffee, no tea, no Mountain Dew. That was because of Emma. Because, as the woman, she cleans up after the guys had their meetings. And so she didn't like all the chewing tobacco all over the floor that couldn't make the spittle. and so, yeah, Emma told Joseph, "You're cleaning this up." So Joseph, to avoid the work, gave the word of wisdom. See, men know how to fix problems. And so, yes, if you go through church history, you find that Joseph Smith, I believe, smoked and went to the tavern, pub, and had a beer. And you're going, "Oh no, he broke the word of wisdom." No, it's a word of wisdom. It was not a law. It was not a commandment. And so Brigham Young, I was told that it was Brigham Young who turned it into a commandment, but learning about what Brigham Young was doing, that can't be the case. Oh, a comment on the email. Okay. Got a lot of stuff to do for Jasmine. Alrighty. So, yeah, Brigham Young had a tobacco plantation and ran the brewery and said, well, the brothels need to be supplied somehow. So yeah, Brigham Young was also a drinker and a smoker at the brothels, if not elsewhere. as he's having sex with little girls at the brothel because his latest wives, or his latest wife, one of the latest wives divorced him. He's got to get comfort. She says she read Brigham Young, The Lion and the Lord sermon, where he called her a liar. Yeah, this wasn't too much longer after, well, the Salem witch trials were in the 1600s, which was a carryover of the Spanish Inquisition. But, yeah, women were always used for excuses to get away with things. Thomas B. Marsh, who was the president of the 12 before 1838, he was chased out by the Danites, had been framed by the Danites, saying that he was excommunicated by Joseph Smith for defending his wife's honor, because she was a naughty girl, held back some of the top cream of the milk jug, and she's got to give it all. None of that happened. Brigham Young's Danites came to him, threatened him like they did everybody else, saying it was Joseph and that he must conform or he's going to be murdered. And so he left. He wanted nothing to do with the church anymore if this is what it's going to be. He left because of the Danites. And so Brigham Young, after becoming the president of the 12 by vote within the quorum. What? That's not done, Travis. Yeah, no duh. Then sent Thomas B. Marsh a letter, and it's in the Joseph Smith papers, saying you need to come back on 17th of March, 1839, for your disciplinary council to be excommunicated. He didn't bother to go. So, Brigham Young excommunicated him. Brigham Young's Danites kicked him out. Brigham Young excommunicated him. Because Joseph Smith was still in Liberty Jail. You gotta check your facts. You can't just trust a Danite. They lie. And so, yeah. To have Brigham Young call Emma Smith a liar, yeah. She did not like him and had some words with him. And so Brigham Young, to save face, called her a liar. And so, yeah, Jasmine thinks that that is a funny thing coming from such a truthful, that's sarcasm, person as Brigham Young. Yeah. Brigham Young even confesses in many of his sermons that he's lied to people before. But Mormons don't want to read about that. That's not faith promoting. Okay, next. Travis Wayne Goodsell makes public apology. Hey, Travis. We are in the midst of finding out about secret combinations. They got those in Kentucky, do they? I am reading about the Nephite and Lamanite involvement with the Gadianton robbers and murderers. That led me to this, according to the Joseph Smith translation of the Bible. Yep, selections from the Book of Moses. Cain also entered a secret combination with Satan and became Master Mason. What are we missing here? Nothing. That's what it says. There have been critics who try to claim that it means Master Mason. But there's some problems because that feeds into the Danite claim that Joseph Smith turned Danite leader and was murdering Mormons and blah, blah, blah. And then he became a Master Mason himself in 1842. Even critics don't put the pieces of the puzzle together and then just spout off things like a white supremacist without thinking first. And they pull a beam in the moat themselves. And so, Master Mahan, you need to understand, this was 1831-ish? Yeah, probably 1831. Because Sidney Rigdon was paid back by doing this project. Because Alexander Campbell said no. And so Sidney Rigdon took his Bible and went to Ohio. And so, yeah, there's so many different confirmations that establish the fact that Sidney Rigdon wrote the Book of Mormon. And so in order to pay him for it, yeah, Sidney Rigdon got to put in his Baptist Campbellite doctrine into the Book of Mormon there at the end. Because a certain 116 pages were stolen by Martin Harris. And so Joseph Smith was put in timeout for a whole year. So, yeah. Moroni says, I've got time. I'm not dead yet. So let's talk about my father's letters. Let's put in the Jaredites. I'm still not dead yet. I'm going to say some words. And then I'm going to close with what's going to be misinterpreted by Mormons in the latter days. Because they are illiterate in comprehending the whole Book of Mormon with the Bible. That it's scientific process and logical methodology. And so they knew Hebrew through Joseph Smith Sr., Jewish Kabbalah. And so this isn't Master Mason. This is a variation of that from Hebrew. So this is a rudimentary Hebrew of Nathaniel Wood of the Vermont New Israelites. It is not Jewish. It is not Paleo-Hebrew decipherment, but there is some connections with Jewish Kabbalists to actual Paleo-Hebrew, but I'm the one who had eventually to decipher Paleo-Hebrew, and Jewish Kabbalah helped me with that when I was doing my initial research. But and so I can't really use Paleo-Hebrew translation on this. And it's before they obtained a Hebrew alphabet and grammar of Rabbi Sykes of 1836, which is why the Book of Abraham has Hebrew stuff in it, which comes directly from his alphabet and grammar that had been just published prior to his coming to work for Joseph Smith, teaching him Hebrew. And so this is Joseph Smith Sr.'s knowledge of Hebrew. And if you remember, I've exposed that Joseph Smith Sr. was the Master Mason in Canandaigua, New York on 9/11/1826, which is the birthplace of the Book of Mormon. And so, when he's talking about secret combinations, he's got that concept in mind of the threat to America. That these Illuminati Scottish Rites Freemasons are seeking to murder and get gain, as Cain also entered into a secret combination with Satan for. And you also need to understand that they know that this is not literal history, that this is prophecy of the latter days. And so they're just telling another variation to be included using the Bible story of Cain to expand upon it, to prophesy about the latter days, as the Genesis author is also doing so in that same context. They're just expanding upon it, giving more information because of what Joseph Smith Sr. learned by William Morgan at Canandaigua Lodge. And so that's why the difference in spelling is that it's not a Mason, as Sr. was a Mason. And the book that the Batavian Press had published under William Morgan's name is by Joseph Smith Sr., as I did that video not too many weeks ago. And so that book not only goes over the three ranks to start off in both masonries, both lodges, but also explains the duties and responsibilities of a Master Mason. And that's where Joseph Smith Sr. is trying to encode what he did and why he did it to bring forth the Book of Mormon. And so Master Masons are good people. Masonry is good. But the Illuminati infiltrated the Scottish Rites Freemasonry in America and corrupted it. And that's what they're doing here. Satan is the Illuminati. Cain is the Scottish Rites Freemasonry that entered into a secret combination with the Illuminati to become murderers, to overthrow the government in the latter days. And so it's Master Mahan instead of Master Mason. A little complicated, requires actual church history to explain this as to why it's in there. So that's the missing information. And yeah, it's, for those of you who are listening, that's exclusive information that I just gave you. There are critics who recognize that Joseph Smith Sr. was a Master Mason in Canandaigua, New York. There are Mormons, and it's in William Morgan's Wikipedia page, that he was among the first group to be baptized for the dead, and that his wife joined the church. But they don't make the connection to 9/11/1826. That's me. And so the stuff that are branching out from that knowledge is exclusive from me. Alrighty. And so it's unclear. It seems like they use the N, just for the language part, for a suffix determinative for Jewish Kabbalah. And so the actual root word would be ma, rather than mas, for Mason. And Mason technically isn't a Hebrew word anyway, but it's supposed to be a Hebrew word. And I can, it's tricky because I have to refer to Joe Samson's book written by the Finger of God, who shows Jewish Kabbalah in the Book of Mormon and referred to him. And he makes his own thing up for the meaning of each letter. It's not really Jewish Kabbalah that he's doing. But his connections of Jewish Kabbalah in the Book of Mormon is vital for every Mormon to know about. Alright, Child Faith gets another separate video all to himself, or herself. And so, another one of Jasmine's on 3 Latter-day chronological appearances, put up not too long ago. Hey Travis, isn't Ham the way critics say the curse of Cain made it through the flood? Yeah. See, white supremacists claim that Ham was cursed with blackness, thus is over Egypt, even though all of Egyptian dynasties were not black. But nonetheless, yeah, they use that to be white supremacist, racist. And so the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, through their intellectuals in the 1950-ishes, were creating excuses. Hugh Nibley, for example, was claiming that Ham had married one of the daughters of Cain as Egyptus, as his plural wife, which was why he was then cursed by Noah, to carry on the black lineage. It's just more white supremacism before 1978. But Mormons listened to him as he's the popular scholar and was given praise and promotion for what is just basically a worthless read. He just rambles and shows an occasional picture of value, and just nothing of value in any of his volumes of works. It is just a big waste of time, and yet the apologists, they put him on a pedestal. His books are canon for them. He was given an emeritus status, honorary office at BYU. Oh, dear God. Just a wasted life. Given a cushy job being Mormon and trying to protect the church. Nibley is also the one responsible for claiming that the reorganized Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints was correct, that the Book of Mormon geography is actually Central and South America rather than Western New York. Which Nelson likewise confirmed. Because Hugh Nibley used to do film presentations of his trips down there and do fireside presentations at stakes, showing the slide presentations to people. And I remember seeing his slide presentation as a kid, but it wasn't by him giving it. It was something that had to be bought and then shown on the slide projector. And so, yeah. Dear God. And wasn't Egyptus the one that discovered Egypt underwater? Inundation. The Nile River. You know, after the winter snows on the top of the mountains down south, they flooded the Nile River. And the whole Nile Valley was submerged underwater. That's what's being said here. And so the soil from the mountains was red. And so as the Nile River is flooded, the waters look like they're bleeding. As the actual Nile Valley is black land, thus Kemet, Ham, Kem, black. That's the name for Egypt, Kemet. And so, yeah, that's the way it was claimed. But that's what it's referring to. And for the wife, not Ham, where's Ham? And so he's using Egyptian knowledge of Egyptian documents in this. And so Egyptus is is it the wife or the daughter Egyptus? Do that to me one more time. No, 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 no. All right. Now this king was a descendant from the loins of Ham and was a partaker of the blood of the Canaanites by birth. DNA has actually confirmed this. Zawi Hawass was furious and denied the science results. He was pissed. DNA scientists had acquired some pharaonic mummies to do DNA testing on. And they had confirmed through the science connecting the DNA markers to Canaanites. And so Zawi Hawass, who's the one in charge of tourism and archaeological digs and all that stuff, you have to go through him. He has to approve it. And as if you know him, he's always in the spotlight for archaeological digs and videos and documentaries and all that stuff. He's the one to refer to because Egypt government designated him to be that guy. And so, yeah, he was just pissed. But yeah, Joseph Smith is correct on this. Which, yeah, it's Joseph by this point. It was 1838 when he started working on this. And because of the coup, he had to stop, and it wasn't published until 1842, I think, along with the Joseph Smith history was also finally published then. And yeah, the Joseph Smith papers reveals what it actually says, that Willard Richards tampered with it after Joseph died. But this, no, the Danites didn't get to tamper with it because the mission president Richards out in England took this and some other materials from 1842 to England with him and made a pamphlet out of it to pass to people out there in England. And so when he came back to the valley here, Brigham Young wanted nothing to do with it. And it was under John Taylor that it became published, but not as canon as the Pearl of Great Price for the canon. And so it wasn't until the 1981 edition that the Pearl of Great Price was included as canon for the church. It was a separate book previous to that. And there was, in the 1950-ishes, combined with the Doctrine and Covenants, but not... People were trying to make it canon, and that's why it officially became canon in 1981, is because Mormons wanted it to be so. Otherwise, yeah, the church doesn't care about translation. They do not claim the title of translator, and so thus they've demoted Joseph from being a translator to just a secondary revelator on this. This is all just revelation. Let's see. The land of Egypt being first discovered by a woman who was the daughter of Ham. Yeah, the daughter. And the daughter of Egyptus. And she is Egyptus, because it goes on. The first government of Egypt was established by Pharaoh, the eldest son of Egyptus, the daughter of Ham. There in verse 25. And so Egyptus is the daughter of Egyptus and Ham, and she married her brother, and that's why Noah cursed Canaan. That's the missing father. And so this goes along with the Heliopolis creation story of brother and sister, Nut and Geb, getting it on, and Atum, who is Noah, telling his son, Ham, who is Shu in the Egyptian story, to separate the kids, to not let them have sex. Oops, too late. She already got pregnant with 5 babies in her womb. And so the story continues on as to how they developed their civil calendar of 365 days for the 5 children by adding 5 days by David thought. And so the Heliopolis creation glyph is father separating his daughter from the son, separating them up, holding up nut up in the sky, up in the heavens, and stepping on his son's junk to keep them separated. And so the Genesis 1 account, the waters are separated, the dry land appears, and Rakia, the sky, which is the air that gives life into Adam in chapter 2 of Genesis. That is Shu. And I did the video not too long ago while I think you were in the hospital because of the deer attack. But it's not too many videos too long ago, maybe, where I go over that. And so this is also the inundation of the Nile. The Nile floods everything, like the earth, submerged underwater. And then the waters separate, dry land appears, just like the Nile inundation. And so this is also for the feminine secrets. That's exclusively for women. So yes, this is them indicating that a woman discovered the land underwater, but she gives birth to Pharaoh. And how does a woman give birth? Well, the baby fetus is submerged in water in the woman's womb. And then the water breaks, and the dry land baby comes out. Crown first, hopefully, and then is circumcised to expose the crown of the mini-me. And thus it's a phallus symbol for the obelisk, which is erected in ceremonies and is shown before temples and all that stuff for that purpose. Baby boys, circumcised. Obelisk is circumcised. Okay, so that's what it's trying to talk about here. It's sex ed for Mormons. And apparently we're in desperate need of sex ed. Okay. Let's see. Or is that why Egypt is called Egypt after her name? No, that's the Latin. Egyptus is Latin. Greek has Egyptus also, but it's a different ending for the feminine. And so this is the Greek feminine ending that's being used here. And so there are people who say that this is the wrong ending for Greek. No, it's not. It's not Greek. It's Latin. Alrighty? And so the reason why they use Latin is because Joseph Smith Sr. knew about the Latin Vulgate with Lucifer added in to Isaiah. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer? That's Latin Vulgate that added that. And so by putting it in the Book of Mormon, he knew exactly what he was doing. And he knows about the different documents because the Book of Mormon includes both the biblical Hebrew version of the ships of Tarshish and the pleasant picture passage of Isaiah that is different in the Septuagint versus the biblical Hebrew text. The Book of Mormon combines them both together in the Book of Mormon. Only Joseph Smith Sr. would have known that. Let's see. Oh, how are you, Travis? I'm okay. It's been 7 seconds, though. all this talk about water. You got mail and more to come. Now, yeah, I saw the previous one that I think you're talking about. I think you have another one also here. Thank you very much. Are you wanting to have a discussion about the emails you're sending? Because, yeah, I can do my research and we can talk about the research material that you're sending me. I'm okay with that. We can do that. Alrighty. And then, desperate need to educate Mormons. Hey Travis, aware of the level of X movie ratings because of your peers? Yeah. That's my story and I'm sticking to it. No missionaries this week. I am bummed. Aww. I want to make an hour-long TWG laughing video to see how many pants and SpongeBob SquarePants get peed in. Did that guy really say unhinged? Yeah. OMG, that's truly funny, LOL. Are you one of those mental illnesses on your rather long lost Travis? I'm not sure I understand that. Yeah, I don't understand that. Have all your women been Mormon women, or have you spirited a non-covenant woman? No, I've only spirited one woman 3 times. That's it. That's all. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. There is only the parting of the water and the dry land appearing 3 times. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. And so, no, I didn't have... I dated a non-Mormon once. That was back in high school for the prom. I had to prove to my peers that I wasn't gay, which wouldn't have mattered. My parents still thought I was gay after they saw that I had taken out a woman on a date. But nonetheless, yeah, Cynthia Pollard. She preferred to be called Cindy Pollard. She was the one that's Clockwork Orange. I'm sorry, Jasmine. I'm not going to share that with my audience. That's between you and me. But, yeah, at the end of the date of the prom, because for the prom, I took her to a big, expensive, fancy restaurant. And I'm not quite sure how I obtained the money for that, because my dad didn't give me the money. I had worked for it, I guess. And I'm kind of surprised that I didn't spend it all on cassette tapes, and McDonald's, and lotto tickets. But nonetheless, I somehow had the money to pay for it. It was expensive. It was very nice. And then went to the prom, and afterward I took her home rather than to the hotel that everybody else was going to. And I got out after parking in front of her house, and she got out, and I wasn't quick enough to get the door for her, and so I stood there on the other side of the car as she was already heading up without me up to the door, and she stood there and waited, and that is my cue to go and kiss her. I didn't realize that was what it meant. I have no education on the subject matter. And so it was awkward and no kiss. And so Michelle Benz became my first kiss at Rick's College after I got home from my mission. So the only thing that gave me comfort is Spencer W. Kimball's claim that he never kissed any other woman until he kissed his wife, as he's claiming that he'd never kissed anybody until after he got married. Nelson, on the other hand, has been caught in the news kissing a woman along with the whole fraternity. I'm sure it wasn't an orgy. It was just pinning. Is it Pleasantville? The name of the movie? Right, Nelson? You're a good boy, aren't you? Forcing your daddy not to drink alcohol. And so, I broke Michelle Binn's heart. I just, something didn't feel right. It was weird. And we'd already gone our separate ways. We hadn't seen each other for weeks. And so I decided to at least have the courage to tell her to her face that I was breaking up with her. And that crushed my heart because she just broke down and cried. I hadn't seen her for a while. And so I was doing the honorable thing, I thought, to at least tell her that we're breaking up, rather than just ghosting her. But, and then I found out that there was a conspiracy of her roommates against me to sabotage my marriage. As I found her decades later at the temple, the Jordan River Temple, and she's telling me this. Oh yeah, we were going to destroy your marriage. We were telling her all this stuff about you. We made it all up. And then she wrote me a letter saying that her bishop told her she's not allowed to write me anymore because that's adultery. Huh? Dear God. Mormon women are so weird. So frustrating. Let's see. If you send me a second vision pic, I will curse you with little feet? Oh. You're gonna curse me? Anyway, Jasmine doesn't love me anymore. Anyway, I read that the prophecies of the book of Revelations were specifically for the Romans and not for the people like us in the future. Yeah, that's Christians. Remember, it's literal history now. And so, yeah, there are people who think that he's referring to Nero, and those are Christian scholars trying to compromise. No. No. But, no, he talks in the beginning to the therapeutic groups. Those are the churches of and of and of, and condemns them, but then, if they're righteous, promises them blessings in the highest degree of the celestial kingdom, where they get to keep their sex organs. I know that is not accurate, but how could someone come to that conclusion? Well, they skip out a lot of premises and screw up premises for misinformation. Real easy to do. Alrighty, so is there anything in the email that we can discuss? Oh wow. Poison ivy. Awesome. And you didn't put them in a zip file. You put them all separate. That's okay. Either way is okay. I put them in the same Jasmine file. I just watched the new video and commented, and I just commented on the new video that you commented on. She says, okay, I'm not going to talk about that. That's going to be a personal thing for the research project that you have me on. And so if we can, obviously, we'll discuss it then, I guess. So this, you're going over, okay. So I don't see anything to add to this comment reply video. You should let, oh yeah, she does say at the end here, you should let me at some of your commenters. Nobody should. They should all be locked up. Dear God. They gotten worse. Anti-Semites, white supremacists. Dear God. Because the picture with the Jewish flag and the mother and the girl hugging, it brought out white supremacists, anti-Semites. And so I've got a major purge to do in my comments now. So, okay. So, yeah, we can now have a conversation back and forth about the research project. Thanks for letting me know.